On this page, we would like to highlight the top 10 sales for Jawbreaker Sales. Let's highlight the whole area, and I'll come up here, top bottom rules, top 10, and light red field with dark red text. That looks good. I'll say OK. Let's also highlight the very highest one. So I'm going to create another rule, top bottom rules, top 10, but I'm changing this to just one, and let's put a red border around it. Say OK. Now you see the red border around the one, but the top 10 are still there. Next, we want to also highlight the bottom 5. So top bottom rules, bottom items, I'll put 5 in there, and let's give them maybe a yellow fill. And we've completed our task here. It makes it very easy to pull out the data that we're interested in. Note also, if one of these were to change, such as I put 100 in here, this is no longer a top item and has changed which are the top 10 items that we have. Now let me propose 3 questions we want to examine. Who improved each quarter? Who had their high in the last quarter? And who had a low in the second quarter but a high in the third quarter? To answer these questions, we will use sparklines. Let me first select G7, and then I'll go Insert, Sparklines. Let's select the line option. The data range for G7 is C through F7. I'll click OK, and you can see we've got a chart. I can copy this on down to the rest as well. Very interesting. I can see that each person has their own line, kind of their own graph or chart, if you will. Marcelo has improved each of the 4 quarters. To make it easier on answering the questions, let's also add some colored markers. For the high point, let's put it in a bright blue, and for the low point, we'll put in a red dot. We can also make these individual graphs a little larger if we want by highlighting each row and then grabbing one of the values and expanding that row size, thus emphasizing the heights. Now, it's really easy. Not only has Marcelo increased each quarter, but those that had a high in the last quarter would be Brian, Marcelo, Dave, and myself. Those that had a low in the second quarter and a high in the third will be, we can just look for the low here. It looks like Brian and Colin had a low in the second quarter and a high in the third quarter. Sparklines can also help us understand our data and perhaps reduce the needs for charts. Let's go to the next worksheet. On this worksheet, let's highlight alternate rows so it makes it easy to follow across the page. We'll first highlight all the data and then use the formula below. So new rule, we'll create our own rule, and we create it as stated there, equals the mod of the row. That pulls out the row number, and we'll divide by 2. So the first row is 6 divided by 2. The remainder is 0. In this case, then, if that is equal to 0, let's format a color on it. Maybe something like this. If I wanted row 6 to be white instead, I would just put the equation to say equals 1 instead of 0. Let's edit our equation to do every third row. So manage rules, edit, and I'll just put divide by 3. Now every third row is highlighted. We could do any number of combinations. Let's try the checkerboard look. we'll manage our rules, edit, and say instead of the mod divided by 2, that is, of the row, it has to equal 0, we will divide that also by 2. Each column has a number. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. In fact, you can use that format that uses the number for the column instead. We call that R1C1. Let's now click OK, apply, and you'll notice we have a checkerboard. Whenever we have an even row and an even column, then it's darkened, or if they're an odd row and an odd column. Let's move on to the next worksheet.